Kanban is a workflow management method for defining, managing, and sharing knowledge about work waiting to be done, work in progress, and work that has been done. The goal of Kanban is to help you visualize your work and the work of the team, to maximize efficiency, and to continuously improve the flow, efficiency, and quality of work. From Japanese, the word Kanban means billboard or signboard. The concept originated in manufacturing and at the beginning of the 21st century, and with its big focus on efficiency, Kanban left the manufacturing-only idea and was successfully applied to other sectors such as IT, software development, R&D, and others. It has since become a tool that has been dominated by agile software development teams. Kanban is now recognized by business units across really all industries. As more and more people hear about Kanban, there often are misinterpretations. In this section, we will explain what exactly is Kanban and how do we build a Kanban system.
Kanban is all about visualizing your work and limiting your work in process. To represent the work and the workflow, boards and cards are used. Kanban teams can use a Kanban software or a physical board, like a whiteboard with sticky notes. Once the visualization is complete, you can see how the work progresses or moves across the board. If the workflow is interrupted, the team members can quickly identify and block the issues in advance. The core practice in Kanban is to improve the flow of work and limit your work in process. At a point when the board fills up with too much unfinished work, the team no longer starts new work, and they focus on completing the unfinished work. The team members refocus their attention and work together to complete unfinished tasks. To visualize your process, you will need a board with cards and columns. Each column on the board represents a step in your workflow. Each card represents a work item. The first and most important thing for you is understand what it takes to get an item from input to output. When you start working on an item or a task, you move it from the to-do column to the in progress column. And when it's completed, you move it to done. This way you can easily track progress and spot bottlenecks. This is the purpose of using a Kanban board. By doing so, every team member will have a clear overview of what's happening and who's working on what. It helps to estimate your team's work capacity and use it to the maximum level.
Kanban is still growing and adapting to new ways of working. Some of the ideas connected with Kanban are part of good project management or task management practice. So adding Kanban as part of your daily routine may be confusing. Having said that, Kanban and monitoring the flow of work is effective in areas where the flow of work and bottlenecks have caused struggles. It can offer a lot of value for teams that focuses on daily work. However, for larger projects and big initiatives, it is not always very practical. We've successfully applied the principles of Kanban across diverse areas such as creating marketing campaigns, custom product development, the craft brewery process, event planning, inventory management, legal project management, and many others. It can be applied to anything that has a process, whether it is simple or complex. So without abandoning any of the good things in your current workflow or project management methods, or current processes that is already working well for you, you can apply Kanban because greater visibility and improving the flow of work is always awesome.
There are 6 core practices of Kanban. If Kanban is done poorly, just like many tools or methods, it can actually create waste and make processes worse. So these are important practices to understand and apply. The first is to visualize the workflow. Visualizing the work to be done using Post-it notes on the wall or an electronic board for a distributed team. The board becomes the focus for meetings, which walk through each task on the board.
Second is to limit work in progress. Setting work in progress or WIP limits on each process step ensures that problems with the workflow become visible on the board. Bottlenecks and available capacity becomes obvious, which encourages the team to work together to resolve issues and work more effectively.
Next is to manage flow. Seeing information about the work within the process, with a deeper understanding of the importance of eliminating waste such as waiting and delays, leads the team to more actively manage their workflow. They focus less on getting started on something quickly than doing many things at the same time, and more on finishing them quickly by focusing on only a couple things at once.
Principle number 4 is explicit policies. Policies or procedures can be established within the team to reduce rework and focus effort where it will be most effective. Outside of the team, service level agreements or SLAs can be agreed for different categories of work. For example, for prioritization, allowing much greater flexibility in the system.
Next is feedback loops. In Kanban, feedback is formalized and implemented, not just within the team or work group, but also between teams and between team members and their coach or their manager. This is just one way to create and nurture a culture of learning in an organization.
Lastly is improvements. Kanban does not require any changes initially. No new processes or roles, no new meetings. All it requires is for the team to visualize its existing workflow on a Kanban board, and you'll be amazed. The core practices of Kanban encourage continuous incremental changes that will result in meaningful improvements. So, where do we start to build a Kanban system? Or should we just go to Japan and find one? We start by setting up the most straightforward Kanban board with 3 basic columns. It's very simple: waiting, in progress, and completed, or to do, doing, and done. When it's constructed, managed, and functioning correctly, it serves as a real-time information sharing. It highlights bottlenecks within the system and anything else that might interrupt smooth working practices.
Kanban is focused on getting things done, and its fundamentals can be broken down into the 6 practices that we've covered and 4 basic principles. These principles are important to understand, especially if you're implementing a Kanban board for the first time.
So, principle 1, start with what you do now. Kanban's flexibility allows it to be overlaid on existing workflows, systems, and processes without disrupting what is already successfully being done. Naturally, it will highlight issues that need to be addressed and help to evaluate and plan improvements to ensure that changes are as non-disruptive as possible. Kanban is pretty versatile, so you can introduce it incrementally without worrying about overcommitting or culture shock, since you don't have to make huge changes right from the start.
Principle 2, agree to pursue incremental evolutionary change. Kanban is designed to meet minimal resistance. It encourages continuous incremental changes to the current process.
Principle 3, respect the current process, roles, and responsibilities. Kanban recognizes that existing processes, roles, and responsibilities and titles have value and are, for the most part, worth preserving for now. It is designed to promote and encourage incremental, logical changes through team collaboration without triggering fear of change.
And principle 4, encourage acts of leadership at all levels. This is the newest Kanban principle. It reminds us that leadership comes from people's everyday acts on the front line of their teams. Everyone must foster a continuous improvement mindset to reach optimal performance on an individual, team, department, and organizational level. This just can't be a management level activity.
If you or your organization has never done anything like a Kanban board and is not aware of the need for a structured work process, you are definitely at the beginner's level, which is not a bad thing. Most organizations at this stage don't have a systematic approach to organizing the way they work, and it may seem difficult to apply Kanban on a team level. In this case, we recommend starting by visualizing work on an individual level.
Individuals need to realize the benefits of visualizing invisible work and the need for limiting work in progress in order to become more productive. Ultimately, your team will be ready to start progressing to the next level when people realize the need to prioritize work from the pile of tasks waiting to be worked on. At the next level, Team members already have built the habit of using Kanban individually, and after people begin to recognize the benefits of simple workflow visualization, they can move to visualizing work as a team. Each individual's work can be coded by a color or their picture or an avatar. In the beginning, it will be easier to differentiate between work items using swim lanes.
Each swim lane can be dedicated to a certain individual. This way, team members will easily recognize their own tasks. But in the same way, they can easily see what others are doing. At this early level of a Kanban implementation, there isn't consistency in the work process, but you will notice increased team collaboration levels and incentive shared responsibility culture.
So a Kanban board is all about visualizing your work, limiting work in progress, and maximizing efficiency or flow. Work groups focus on reducing the time it takes to take a task from start to finish or from input to output. They do this by creating and using the Kanban board and continuously improving their flow of work. Here you'll find the one-point lesson for Kanban.